a Ghanatube so modofo snowy masan so atena say everything for intem pass no na meka wo say nsem bi koso ewo omanga ne mu trending issues akese pa na menum enkwan nu enja fufuo nu nti mesre say e be kwa tie nsem a koso na say pa na mene de ka ho no ato aso emom.
Let's look at some of the things that happen in courts. The CJ's removal process is still in the news.
Yes.
The Attorney General has been speaking. What has he been saying?
Yes. So processes have been started. Looking into petitions that the president has received to seek, which is seeking the potential removal of the Lady Chief Justice Torkornoo. As we speak, we've seen several actions at the Supreme Court, some of whom have been dismissed, especially with respect to the interlocutory matters, injunctions upon injunctions and all of that. The substantive matters are pending. Now, not too long ago, we note that the Lady Chief Justice has caused her lawyers to go to the Human Rights Court, the High Court, to stop the committee's work because she is of the view that she's not being treated fairly. She's of the view that her rights has been violated. And so the High Court will have to intervene. So he initiated the action, which is currently pending at the High Court. And then, in fact, he sued the committee, the Article 146 committee, the committee member, Justice Gabriel Pama being the chair, Justice Amale Siedu, and the other members of the committee. He sued all of them in that particular action. But Lily, first of all, just before, let me tell you exactly what the Chief Justice saw before she caused her lawyers to go to the High Court. Let's hear from her.
Since 23rd May 2025, this strange process has been followed up and witness after witness has been called. Like Nebuchadnezzar's situation, in which he demanded that the magicians in his court should tell him his dream and also interpret it. My lawyers are left to guess which allegations in the petitions that I received on 27th March are supposed to be the subject matter of the testimonies that the witnesses have referred to. Anyone who has been to the Circuit Court or the High Court and made subject to the rules CI 47 will know that those rules never conceived that a hearing can be conducted without the claims, the defenses, and the issues being carefully laid out before the parties and accepted by all of them before a hearing starts. Ladies and gentlemen, it is this total absence of compliance with all known rules of fair hearing that has caused my lawyers to file applications for judicial review in the High Court to declare all the proceedings void. Because the clear danger is that through this flagrant violation of CI 47 and the darkness of the current proceedings being held in camera behind the walls of a Lodge, my lawyers and I can come to the end of the proceedings. The evidence will show that every one of those allegations in the petitions that were given to me on 27th March is unfounded and untrue. And yet, the committee can dig up some allegation from whatever documents they claim to be having from the president, which they have not shown to me, and purport to enter a recommendation for my removal on that basis.
Okay, so Lily, that is the Lady Chief Justice giving us some ideas about what she has caused her lawyers to file at the Human Rights Court to declare the whole process nullity because she thinks that her rights has been violated, things that are supposed to be done by the committee are not being done, and so she is at the Human Rights Court. And I told you about the fact that you see the Attorney General as well. The AG has been responding to that particular request or application that is filed at the Human Rights Court. And let's see what the AG has done. Okay, so as you can see on your screens, that's a response from the AG. And Director, let us go. The first respondent here, or the first respondent applicant, because the AG is now applying for this one, is the Article 146 committee. The second, Justice Gabriel Pwama, who is the chairman. Justice Samuel Esiedu is the third respondent applicant. Then, of course, Daniel Yao Demelovo is also in there as the fourth respondent applicant. Major Flora in there. Professor James Sefajisa is also there. Then the Attorney General. And look at what the Attorney General is saying. Motion on notice for an order to strike out the applicant or applicant respondent. Applicant here is because the Lady Chief Justice is the one that has gone to court now. Now the AG is also filing a counter action. So now the Lady Chief Justice has become a respondent here. Application for judicial review. And let it go. Let me tell you what the AG is asking the Human Rights Court to do. Not to even go into the merits of whatever the Lady Chief Justice has filed. What the AG is saying is that if you look at all the actions that have been filed, especially what is before the High Court now, it's something that has already been dealt with. I'll tell you more. No, let's go back this. Okay. And let's pause here. He's saying that the action before the Human Rights Court, the AG wants an order striking the applicant or Chief Justice application out for judicial review. What the AG is contending is to the effect that if you look at, okay, let's pause here. If you look at the action before the High Court, it has already been dealt with by the Supreme Court in cases and other cases that are also still pending before the court. So if you are asking the High Court to look at a case that is pending before the court, who bondog? Because the Supreme Court is the highest court, and that those matters. Remember that when she filed her interlocutory injunction, one of the things that she raised, in fact, with respect to her supplementary affidavit that she's alleging incidents that took place, her body is being searched, her husband not being allowed to be with her, the fact that the first day she was not present at the committee's hearing, the lawyer was there, but because she was not physically present, his lawyer was not involved in all processes. All of these matters that he's putting together to allege that there's a human rights violation. But the committee was of the view that from Article 146 ought to have been held in camera. Okay. And so whatever you are raising in relation to what is happening within the committee cannot be allowed to be heard in public. Okay. And so that particular supplementary processes were struck out even before her interlocutory injunction. Okay, let's pause here. Her interlocutory injunction was dealt with. And the AG, as part of his action before the court, is telling the High Court that already a case that has been at the Supreme Court filed by the Lady Chief Justice versus the Attorney General, that's her interlocutory injunction with the seed number, has already been dealt with. The interlocutory injunction has been dealt with, but the substantive matter is pending. If you look at, there was another one for Center for Citizenship, Constitutional System, and LBG. That one has also been dealt with. Let's go. And I'll tell you the one by Vincent Ekoasifua. Okay. That one has also been mentioned with. The AG made reference to that case was also at the Supreme Court. And then, like that clearly, that one is also here. Then Ebenezer Oseusu, he was not even in court with his lawyer, so his case was struck out. Then Theodore Kofi Kofi versus the Attorney General. So since the suspension of Chief Justice, we've had all these issues come up at the Supreme Court. Okay. And then the AG is saying that for the Lady Chief Justice to have gone to the High Court, the same issues that she's reading have been, one way or the other, been at the Supreme Court. Some, especially the interlocutory legs, have been dealt with by injunction, have been dealt with by raising these same issues. So the High Court cannot be invited to look into matters like of this nature. So on the 15th of July, the AG, the Deputy Attorney General, will move that particular motion for the High Court, especially the Human Rights Division, to strike that particular action out for misstatement of capacity. Okay, okay. And then there's somebody who's suing the special prosecutor, the office of the special prosecutor. Absolutely, a former employee, a deputy staff officer. He says that he's worked the national security before. At some point in time, his employment was terminated. The office of the special prosecutor advertised for the processes he applied, and then during he was shortlisted for interview. He disclosed that he's worked with the national security before, and at some point in time he had issues, his appointment was terminated, gave them the reason, they shortlisted him, he appeared before the committee, justified that particular process termination, and he went through all the processes and passed through. and then he was employed in 2023, put on probation. After a year probation, he was confirmed, was given a proper confirmation letter to start his job and all of that. Then fast forward, he was assigned to the scholarship secretariat scandal. He investigated the matter at some point, dealt with the processes and all of that. Investigated, and some persons were arrested in relation to infraction that took place at the national the scholarship secretariat and all of that. Then at some point in time, the whole process was asked to be put on hold. Then he started facing some victimization. Upon victimization, because at some point in time, the executive officer, the chief executive officer of the scholarship secretariat, Kingsley Ejeman, was going to be arrested. And at the same time, within that same 2024 there, he was contesting for parliamentary seat at Ebuakwa North. And so that particular process was put on hold. Then fast forward, after the election, he's received a dismissal letter. And then he thinks that he was not given a hearing. Unfair. And so he's even implicating the office of the special prosecutor, the special prosecutor himself in all these processes. So he's filed a motion on a writ at the Human Rights Court seeking some intervention, saying that his right had been violated. He ought to be compensated or reinstated by the fact that he was not given a fair hearing. So we follow through this, and then we'll bring you update on as and when this matter comes up again.
Okay.
Etienne for me, that was some munyambre, equity in Sama, Ecoso, Ewo, or mining, now bet me, and so Edward chair, Abreme, Ewo, comment box in the moon, now making kindly na Eddie Amov Fefe, answer na Messer Musono, make I will be say, aha, Ghanatube, so unsubscribe, now hit the notification bell, no F, mammy, what awful story, I was here for CCR, dear, Macram.